Welcome to Cruising Altitude, the podcast where we rise above the turbulence of life and step into the freedom, clarity, and luxury of living life at our highest level. I'm Kelly O'Shea, business development consultant, private jet advisor, investor relations specialist, author, solo mom, and living proof that you can crash into life's turbulence, pick up the pieces, and still arrive in style. Whether you're navigating business, healing, or building a life that feels limitless, this is your boarding pass to living a life you were brave enough to chase. So buckle up, we're ready for takeoff. Welcome back to Cruising Altitude with Kelly O'Shea. This is episode 7. The light at the end of the tunnel is inside of you. Today I am with Gabby Rothman. She is a child advocate, fundraiser, volunteer for children's charities, nonprofit, and philanthropy. Gabby, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Kelly, for having me.
And I'm so excited because I know you're going to share some of your stories of resilience, which I believe are tied to your political journey, which I'm really excited to hear more about. So thank you. So Gabby, let's start out by talking a little bit about like what your tunnel metaphorically looked like. You know, what was the turbulence for you the past 5 years?
Oh, so we're gonna just jump right in there. We're just gonna go.
Let's jump in.
Oh, I do have a story. I don't know how much
with the story.
Sure. So let me give you a little bit about this story. Yeah. Okay. So I had a long career in public service, and I decided 30 years later that I was going to go back to school and get my master's degree.
Okay.
It was a challenge. It was, times had changed, and schooling had changed. We were no longer meeting in the classroom. We weren't, we didn't have study buddies anymore. And so it was very new to me. Plus, education had advanced. And so now I'm on another level. And so I felt very challenged. I felt like I maybe wasn't prepared to be in this space. And I felt like I definitely wasn't using the, correct political or the academic words.
Right.
And so I wanted to give up. And my son was also a graduate student at the same time I was. And so I said, son, I don't know if I can do this. But as a young child, my husband and I raised him. You're never allowed to start anything that you're not going to finish. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't give up. And so he came home and he gave me the tools and the techniques to make myself better. And so I pushed through. I pushed hard. And I found, I would attend many council meetings and local government meetings because my degree was in public administration. And so I was observing what was happening in my local government, and then that would be part of my talking points in my weekly discussions. Now, I'm probably one of the older students, and I'm in a class with many of the students who were probably giving back what they'd read in the textbook, but I was giving real life experience. Okay. And so I'm sure my professors really appreciated that. But when I completed my degree, I ended up, my thesis was chosen to be presented in Miami. Because of attending these public meetings, I heard residents and seniors talking about property taxes and being taxed out of their home. And I said, this is a problem. Mm-hmm. And I said, I have to create the solution. So I did a lot of research and I studied states around the country. And there's an opportunity that allows seniors to volunteer, mm-hmm. to work towards paying off their property tax. And I mean, it's not giving somebody free money. It's giving somebody a chance that might have been a teacher in their workforce and now live on a fixed income, mm-hmm. giving that person to go back into the community and fill a workforce solution, but also giving them the opportunity to pay off the property tax bill.
Right.
So I saw that as a win-win, as a solution. So my professors thought it was, they thought it was very innovative, very forward-thinking. And my goal at the time, I was also a candidate, was to introduce it into legislation.
Okay.
So.
Awesome. So, and then, okay, talk to me a little bit about the past 5 years, because I know your journey into politics, you had high hopes and faith that it was going to be,
yes.
great, and it was a little bit more turbulent than I think you expected.
Definitely,
so
the political world was definitely, it was very turbulent. I had always worked for elected officials, and I've been asked for many years to run for politics, but I really didn't have any interest in politics. Mm-hmm. I saw myself as the person behind the scenes that makes the one shine.
Right.
And I did that very successfully. But people wanted me to run for politics, and I said, no, I'm not interested in that. But I always worked in public service, and I finished a career, and I wanted to begin another career. Mm-hmm. And I decided, I wanted to lead a public organization. With that being said, it was a big challenge.
Right.
The only way there was through politics.
Right.
And politics is not nice. People are not nice, and you're auditioning for a role.
Mm-hmm.
And I took an even larger, more inherent challenge. I wasn't running for a seat where it was an open race, where you're picking between. I was running to unseat somebody who'd been in office for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And I saw the office could use improving. And I said, send me. I'm ready. I'm ready to step up to this next level of leadership. It's almost like when you join a nonprofit board. Right. One day, you're going to transition up to either the vice chair or the chair. So I said, this is my turn to step up to leadership. And so I took it on. I didn't know the office, but I knew that I knew customer service very well. Mm-hmm. And so I studied. I researched, I traveled around the state, I observed beautiful services to bring back to my county, but I always knew I was running somebody who'd been in office for a very long time.
Right.
And people oftentimes, voters will pick a name they know, and maybe think that person might be doing a good job because I don't know anything different. They don't realize that they have options. And so I had to present that. I had solutions, and this is how I see it. This is how I see course correcting my county, and this is the vision that I see. But I had to learn a lot. I had to learn a lot that not everybody in politics is honest. Mm-hmm. And there were forces that work against you. And so I remained resilient in spite of everything that happened. And I didn't win, but I came very close. Okay. So I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's interesting because Port St. Lucie County, Martin County, everything, it's really growing. And yes. I feel being in the ultra high net worth, that it's all of that, the ultra high net worth are starting to develop more up here. So,
Yes. And I had lived in Fort Pierce most of my life. I moved to Fort Pierce in 1984, which is St. Lucie County.
Yeah.
And my husband is in law enforcement, and he left a career and he started another career in Palm Beach County.
Okay.
So we moved to Becker Road, which is in Port St. Lucie, to be near the Turnpike. And I became very aware of Port St. Lucie. And there was this explosion of growth.
Right.
And so I said, I didn't realize that we had grown by 100,000 residents since this office holder had been in office.
Right.
And I said, I don't feel like we're meeting the needs of the residents. So I said, we need a leader that is acknowledging this growth and not delivering status quo. Right. It's somebody who has the mindset and the forward thinking to present solutions. How do we get on the other side of this? Mm-hmm. How do we stop residents from leaving our county, taking tax dollars away,
right, when
this money should stay right in our county?
Right.
So.
Right. That's amazing. So, and you are going to run again, correct?
I have not officially announced anything. I'm not right now. I'm working with a nonprofit, which I truly enjoy.
Okay.
And people, I think the community is proud to see that I haven't curled up and went away. That I remain committed to things that are important to me, and that's just building this community. I'm a business owner now, and if I can shine a light on somebody and give them an opportunity to shine, that's what I'm doing.
I love it. And tell me a little bit about the children's charities and where that kind of came from, your desire to advocate for children.
Okay, so for years, it was a goal. It was something that my boss had kind of wanted to put a responsibility on me. She says, I want you to be in charge of the Florida State Employees Charitable Campaign Association. And so this allowed employees to contribute to the charity of their choice through their payroll, through their paycheck.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And so I would travel around the county and inspire people to give to charity. The charity of your choice, whatever your charity may be, mm-hmm, through United Way. And so I enjoyed that. And then United Way invited me to be a volunteer member of this the allocations panel. Okay. So I was raising a lot of money, and now I got to see the programs in this community. They were doing really great work, and where the money was going. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like being in a jury room. You're deliberating, because what appeals to me may not appeal to somebody. So you have a stake in the game.
Right.
And so you're fighting over those donor dollars to make sure that we get the biggest bang for our buck. Mm-hmm. But we're invited to different organizations, and you got to see what was actually happening inside, the work they were doing. And that's when it opened my eyes to this wonderful work that was happening in my backyard, and that was Graceway Village.
Okay.
And so that opened so with that, I became very active in fundraising. And many, oftentimes people in the community will see somebody, well, oh, Gabby Rothman, she can get, she's a good fundraiser. You need her on your team. And so I would be pulled in different directions, battered women, the Humane Society. And I finally had to wake up and say, what inspires you?
Yeah.
And for me, it's always been about children. It's always about being the voice for children.
Mm-hmm.
The children, the homeless, the hungry, the needy, the children that don't have a voice.
Yeah.
And I'm the voice for those children. So when anybody would say, can you help me, raise for this charity? I said, unless it's going to benefit a St. Lucie County child directly, I can't help you.
Yeah.
So that was me. It was my own personal, that was what I felt when I got up every day. It motivated me. Okay. It was just being that voice for children.
And what are some of your favorite charities now?
Oh my goodness, there's so many charities in St. Lucie County that do wonderful work. And some seem to rise to a higher level and get more attention than others. But right now, I'm kind of really partial. I am working with the Education Foundation of St. Lucie County.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's, I feel like things all seem to come back full circle. So as a candidate, you are given an opportunity when your campaign is over. If there's any money left over in your campaign war chest, you can donate it to charity.
Okay.
And so a year and a half ago, I saw the beautiful work that the Education Foundation was doing right in the classroom, helping teachers and students. And I said to Tom Jones, I said, if I have any money left over in my campaign, I'm going to donate it to the Education Foundation. So now I'm working with the Education Foundation now.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it all came full circle.
Okay.
And so it's a beautiful thing. But I'm out now competing with other charities, and they see another development director has gotten in the game. So they say, okay, Gabby's in the game now. Yeah. So we're all fighting for donor dollars. And there's plenty to go around. Right. And it's just, expressing the mission and how it appeals to the person and the donor.
And then I noticed, so similar to me, whereas I had a PR agency, a traditional PR agency in New York for a while, but I saw that changing. So I kind of pivoted to business development. You have an agency now, but you specialize in nonprofit. Is that correct? No.
No. So my business is G4 Strategies. Yep. I do marketing and business consulting, board development. So I believe I'm not ever going to get rich. Right. I don't ever go into anything thinking that I'm going to become wealthy. Mm-hmm. I'm not motivated by dollars. Right. I built this business because it's giving me an opportunity now to shine a light, because I ran for office and now I have a platform where people will listen to me. Mm-hmm. They'll take my phone call. And so if I see a business, and it's going to be my choice which business I choose to get behind, because I want to make sure that I shine a light on those businesses that are doing, because I had a very dear friend of mine who passed away recently, and she instilled me the ability to be a connector. Right. And I'm gonna carry forth that with me, to be that connector. Right. So my business is doing a lot of connecting. I'm probably not going to get rich.
Yeah. I think we do similar things, just like I relaunched for business development, and I'm only one person. I have assistants here and there. I can pull people in for certain accounts, but I've always liked to have about 5. That's manageable, because like I went to the boat show this weekend. You can't think about more than 5 people that when you're talking all that, or having business cards. I mean, again, I keep saying I cannot be a Japanese menu, because I'll meet people and say, I want you to sell this for me, sell that. I'm like, I'm good. 5 is good. But it's also nice to be on retainer versus commission.
Absolutely.
And, that's the thing. And it's not just PR. A lot of PR is pay for play, but it's the brand awareness.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for me, this was a nonprofit that I believe in. Right. And I felt, in my community that maybe it wasn't getting the attention it received. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the residents realized, we pay for education through our tax dollars. Right. But the Education Foundation is a nonprofit, and we raise money, and that we're able to get right in the classroom, help the teachers through grants and scholarships, and we can create great impact.
Is that what it is? So the money that they raise goes to the public schools in Port St. Lucie?
Public schools, yes. So 85% of St. Lucie County students attend public school.
Okay.
So yes, it's public schools.
And these teachers apply for grants to improve their classroom
Absolutely.
and their resources. That's
Absolutely.
so cool. Because I've always said that I think America, it's really sad that we pay teachers and police, law enforcement so little.
Correct.
And they're really out there raising our children, keeping us
Absolutely.
safe. Right.
And so that's why, to me, I knew that I could create the greatest impact, being directly bringing those funds, driving those donors, driving those leads right here where it's most needed. This is the future workforce.
Right.
These are our children.
Right.
And we want to make sure they have the best tools.
Yeah.
With what the education that they're receiving.
Absolutely. Well, and I was pleasantly surprised. I went to college here. I went to New York and came back. And at first, I didn't know where the good schools were. And
Sure.
we're in Palm Beach County, but I'm thrilled with the education system.
Yes.
And my son's an AMP gifted, which I'm told if he stays in that, he'll probably get a full ride on Bright Futures, which is
yes,
amazing.
my son did too.
Okay.
So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of changed as my son. I think he got the highest academic level and he received half. But I guess now it's very different where they get full funding and books. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We have a local program here in Indian River State College.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, where they allow these students to, they're getting a 2-year education for free.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been really impressed. So you talk a bit about, you pulled through, and you mentioned your son. For me, I know my son is a huge source of inspiration for me, but, when did you really realize that you had this light inside of you that could really pull you through?
Yeah, so as a candidate and I was campaigning, I was out in the community so much talking to people. And I had a friend of mine who is a founder of a nonprofit, a very successful nonprofit, and she's made a big name for herself. And I was attending one of her charities, supporting her, and I was telling my story about how I'd gone back to college, and it was hard, and I had to push through, but that I was able to succeed and get my degree, gain my voice. Yeah. And she called me several months ago, and she said, I find myself doing so much fundraising, and I'm getting away from what I truly want to do. And she said it was because of your story, I decided to go back to school to get my master's degree.
Wow.
So I realized that I do, when I share my story, that one piece of that may connect or might inspire somebody. And I realize that I need to make sure that I'm very careful that how I choose my words and represent myself.
Yeah.
So that somebody may just be listening and say, I really like that. Wow.
Yeah.
Never thought about it like that.
Yeah, it's so important too as women to be honest, I think, and to, come together a little bit more. I think that was the main reason that I wrote my book. And for you and I both to share our story, it's not easy, and I think it will inspire others. And again, I think we need to stick together. And it wasn't really serving me when I was kind of led by ego and walking around not really telling anyone the truth of a hardship I was going through. I have it all together. I think as women we would like to pretend we have it all together. And some, like you and I, might feel like it's a form of weakness to ask for help. But I look at some of the most successful people I know, like the president of my company, of the president of Fly Alliance, and he has like this amazing supportive wife, and he has this amazing team of his friends that really support and love him, even me, like his PR girl, a reseller. And I'm like, wow, look at everything I've done alone or with people that were actually trying to like make it harder for me. So like I can only imagine how much farther I'll go in life with the right support.
And I 100% agree with you on that. You just need to make sure you choose that circle carefully.
Right.
Make sure that that you can trust. I learned a lot in politics. People that you think you can trust, they convince you that they're helping you. It's not always the case.
Right. Exactly.
And so just make sure you keep that circle close and keep it close to the vest.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
and you've been with your husband for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I've been married, yes.
Marriage.
Yeah, long time. And
Rare these days.
Yeah, very rare. And I'm very proud of that. No, he was my my college sweetheart.
Wow.
And we've been together a long time. We've both been public servants in this community. Very proud. We love St. Lucie County. And so sometimes I say he sees something in me that I don't see in myself. He's my champion. I probably wouldn't have run for office if he didn't believe in me that I could do it.
Right.
So,
That's amazing.
And it was hard. It's hard to be the spouse of a candidate and watch your wife kind of get treated not so nicely, and you can't intervene and you can't speak up and say anything. He had to sit on the side and let me fight by myself.
Right.
So, but I had to be aware that my loss was as profound for him, if not greater, than on myself.
Right.
So very, very, yeah, we have a very dynamic, very support, a strong support system. And I think at the core of that, the center of gravity of our relationship is consistency and communication. And I carry that in life.
That's what I was going to say. What would you say are the secrets to a long and healthy marriage?
I would definitely say, and I think anything, it just speaks to who you are as a person. I'm very consistent. We always tell the truth. Mm-hmm. We keep our word. We don't say anything unless we mean it. So, and communication. Yeah. And so I think Jerry and I do that very successfully.
What has evolving looked like to you? Because I think a lot of the times today, I see people in their 40s getting divorced because they've changed so much since their 20s.
Right.
How does it work when you evolve? How can you do it at the same time together, right? And not lose your own identity.
True. And there are so many, I think, things nowadays that come into play in marriages that didn't come into play during my time.
Right.
And that's social media.
Yeah.
And I think, as I see, the core of social media is infecting relationships and can give people different thoughts. And so I think you should always be very careful of that. But, and now you have access to a whole population you may not have before. And that might seem appealing. For me, we just have a very grounded relationship. And I'm not saying that any marriage is perfect by no means. Do we have disagreements? Absolutely. Do we not, some days we look at each other and say, you know what, you're not my favorite person today.
Right.
But, at the end of the day, we just remain, very committed to why we got in this to begin with, that we're a team. And so we couldn't do it without each other. And I find sometimes people, it's easier to just give up.
Yeah.
And so I've never been a quitter.
Right.
That's the problem. I've never been a quitter. So
that's amazing.
That political world, maybe I thought I got into it and didn't succeed, not a quitter. So.
Right. And what about spiritually? Have you been able to find that part of you, and has that seen you through?
Yes. And I definitely want to speak to that. I'm very grounded in my faith, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I answer to a higher power.
Yeah.
And when we got married, many, many years ago, our church, they put us through classes, and we did these exercises, and we would come back and we would discuss them. And I learned things about my future partner I didn't know about. Mm-hmm. I don't think that happens much anymore.
Right.
So we knew when we were going into this, we knew what we were looking at and what we stood for, how many children we wanted to have, what this life looked like for us. Mm-hmm. And so at the core of our marriage is our faith.
Yeah.
And so I'm not ashamed to say it.
That's so important, I think.
Yes.
And, that's something I look for now as I'm, manifesting a future partner and, a provider of sorts. And I know that's what you have as well, obviously.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
And even though as women, we can be independent, we can run businesses, we can run for office, and we can still be married to a provider of sorts along. But,
absolutely.
There's a balance there.
There is a balance, right? Absolutely.
And men don't have to be afraid of that. I think it's beneficial to, have a woman with soul and fire and passion.
I think, I don't mean to digress, but I think, we both have a mother of a son.
Yeah.
And I think at a very, very early age, my son, even when he couldn't speak, he knew dad's role for safety, protection. He knew mom's role for nurturing and feeding.
Right.
So children learn at a very early age the roles of male and female.
That's true. No, you're right. And I think a lot about that now. The past 5 years have been very important as we lost my son's father for me to heal, become the best version of me, and thank you.
Apologize.
And for Dylan and I to have a bond. But now that he's becoming a young man, I can see the benefit of choosing the right partner.
Absolutely.
And I'm starting to, like I said, manifest that because the first, half, we'll call it, I was really chasing people that were not good to me.
Okay.
And so this is a different part where I'm attracting the right people.
Sure.
And as a boss or alpha female, I have had to learn a little bit to soften and allow the men, because even this weekend at the boat show, I'm with all the guys at Fly Lines, and I talk about wanting to be in the boys club, and I love it. Yeah. But I'm female. I let them close. Let them be the high pressured sales guys. Let me just be the reseller that I am, the advisor, the relationship girl, to let them close. Let the boys handle it.
And so that's where, and so for myself, as a political candidate, that is an inherent challenge. You're in a boys club.
Yeah.
You know, and I had a former boss who taught me, as a woman, you have to work twice as hard to get half as far.
Right.
But I expanded upon that. I said, when I got a seat at the table, I got to be smart enough to stay there.
Yeah.
And they will never challenge me. And I found in life that weak men are threatened by strong women.
Exactly.
Strong men embrace strong women.
Exactly.
My husband's a strong man.
Right, and they're not afraid. And I also learned that it's a scale, like a spectrum. So if you're more of a male, if you have more male-dominated traits as a female, you'll attract a male with more feminine traits. And honestly, my husband was a little feminine. Like, he wasn't that alpha.
Okay.
But again, and we weren't the perfect match. I knew I was settling. I've talked about this before, because I knew he had a drinking problem. But we made a great child, right?
Sure.
And so this time around, but I always knew I wanted the alphas, but I wasn't attracting them. And so here was this lawyer, Charles, that I knew he loved me, so I thought we could get past the drinking. But I remember thinking, gosh, why can't I get that type of guy that I want? But I realize it now. It's because when you're always trying to prove yourself and to do whatever the boys can do, you're turning them off a little bit, in a sense. So like, I have to like reel that in a little bit. But that's what I mean.
But you don't also need to sink or shrink into that space, because I will never do that.
Right.
You know, you don't get to be strong woman and victim.
Right.
You got to pick a lane.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not going to make excuses for it.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, and I will continue to put men in their place, though. And at first, when I started doing it, it's like so weird to the people pleaser in me. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, it's okay. If people can't respect my boundaries, then they're gone. And typically what happens is they respect me so much more. And then we won't do it again. Because guys don't remember things. Yeah. They'll say silly things like, oh, it's not in my calendar. And I'm like, listen, I am not your wife or your assistant. If they're not paying me or sleeping with me, like, I'm not putting things in your calendar. I mean, so it's funny. Again, it's a delicate balance. But we're in this. That's why, you're lucky, you're blessed to have a good marriage, because we're in this weird world where dating is a challenge these
days. Can't even imagine. I was in the dating world, like when you went to a bar and you met, it was so your friend said, oh, she thinks you're cute. Right. But I guess now it's a very different world.
Oh my God, it was more fun back then. It was fun in the 90s, and like I remember guys hitting on me more. And I don't even mind when they like grab a little butt. Like, it's fine to me. I like flirting, but nowadays it's because HR has ruined everything.
So my husband was he had a reunion with his law enforcement family, his brothers, not that long ago. Now, mind you, I worked at the public defender's office. I went along with the law enforcement. We kind of worked hand in hand, on the other side, but we still kind of had each other's backs. And one of his law enforcement brothers, who went through the police academy with my husband, said, if you're ever ready to get rid of Gabby, I'll take her off your hands. My husband says, no, you don't want her. She's too high maintenance.
Oh, I love it.
Just a joke. Yeah.
Right. No, it's true,
but, it feels good, to still be, hey, we still got it.
We still got it. Well, that's a perfect segue to my next question, because I wanted to ask for you, what are the markers of living at your highest level, like being your highest self?
Oh, my gosh. My heart.
Like being your highest self, because for me, I think at first I was trying to accomplish so much before 40, but I'm realizing now that the second half is actually the best half.
And that's what I would confound with what you're saying. Yeah. I feel like every single moment in my life has prepared me for this very moment.
Right.
All of the fundraising, the networking, the people, the nonprofit, the serving, those charged with crimes. Being out in the community. I may not have been ready. I may not have had that voice 15 years ago when somebody might have asked me to run for office. Mm-hmm. But I'm ready today.
Right.
So now, with my education, I learned how to critically think. I learned how to articulate my thoughts. It gave me my voice. Mm-hmm. And then when I ran for office, I leaned into what I stand for. Mm-hmm. And there's no negotiations. This is what I stand for.
Right.
I'm not going to change. I'm not going to switch. I'm not going to flip. That's what I stand for.
Right.
And that is where you gain the respect.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Right. And I think that's the wonderful part about midlife I have found is that I didn't really know who I was in my 20s.
Sure.
I really know who I am now. And the
Sure.
confidence doesn't come from ego or job titles or money in the
Not at
bank. It
all.
comes from inside.
It comes from, and I cannot express that enough. It comes from the inside. It's that inner light. And I think people see it.
Yeah.
I say people, they have a BS detector.
Yes.
And they just can sniff it.
Yeah.
They can see if you're real and genuine and articulate, you know? And so for me, it's just always about being the true, authentic self.
Exactly.
And never lying.
Yeah.
Lying's so important to me. I don't know, maybe I'm too rigid when it comes to those things, but, you know, I just always know the story. So if somebody tries to say, wait a minute, no, I know the story.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
But like Wayne, our producer, says, you know, we're leaving the material world and we're coming more into the spiritual world. And I
agree.
think for women like us too, we grew up with, you know, a lot of focus was on how we looked, and that caused a lot of that put a lot of pressure on me growing up.
Sure.
And so now I actually care less about it, but it
Yes.
shines through more because it's natural.
Oh, absolutely. And it is a space, you know, when I ran for office, you know, you have your people, your party, and they sit down with you and say, okay, we need to look at your wardrobe and make sure that your clothes are not entering the room before you do.
Right.
Where at my age, my friends would be like, they're telling you how to dress, but no, I embraced it.
Right.
Because I don't need to walk in a bright colored, you know, loud, you know, distracting. I don't want anybody to comment on my outfit. I know many love to be complimented. I don't want you to compliment my outfit. I want you to ask me about what I think about something.
Right.
So it's a tough space to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, you know, women that do keep themselves put together and take care of themselves, you know, not, you know, quick to be judged.
Right.
And I had to learn that. I had to learn that through my SWOT analysis, that, you know, maybe I was judged unfairly. I didn't want to take a moment to listen to me and hear my thoughts because they thought I was this persona that I wasn't.
Right. So what's next for you? I know you have
Oh
a big
my
event on
goodness.
Saturday.
Yes. So the Education Foundation, we have our Margaritaville Gala.
Okay.
That's our big annual event, Harbor Ridge. I'm kind of coming in on the tail end, but I'm really excited about it. But it's just giving us an opportunity to shine a spotlight on public education and the wonderful work that we're able to do. And so I'm just, right now, I'm enjoying it. I'm not a political candidate, so I can have a voice, say the things that I need to say. And, you know, like I said, being out there, pointing people to the Education Foundation and say, hey, if you have the time, take a look. Yeah. So they're doing really good work, and it's Gabby approved. It's Gabby endorsed.
Yeah.
So I'm on, you know, of course, various committees, very committed to this community. I'm on the Economic Development Advisory Board. Okay. I'm on the Citizens Advisory Board, just showing the residents I've never gone away. I love St. Lucie County. It's my home. I was willing to fight for it.
Right.
And so I think the residents come up to me and say, Gabby, we're proud of you. You didn't roll up and you didn't go away, because that could have easily happened. Yeah. I didn't want to get out of bed.
Right.
That loss was a donkey kick.
Right.
Harder than I ever, because I gave everything to that. And so I think the residents are proud that I'm still here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm resilient. And my story is a story of overcoming and bouncing back. It's about the bounce back.
Yes.
Because they watch.
Right. And your husband and your son.
Oh, my husband and my son are very supportive. I think they didn't want to hear anything about politics. I think they were hoping, she got that out of her system. We're done with that politics. But I think they both realized that I'm not a quitter. Yeah. So I don't know where I'm going to land.
Okay.
I just feel like I've got a voice, and that people believe me. They trust me. And I learned that it's not about me. Yeah. It's about service to the people. And where my higher power leads me, where I need to be, whatever space that is, I'm going to go. Yeah. If my Heavenly Father says, this is where I want to be, I say, send me. Send me.
Right. I love it. And where can people find you?
Well, I'm on social media, of course. I have a a public page, and I also have my personal Facebook page, but I'm doing a lot on LinkedIn lately. The professional space. Okay. I found after my public loss, and I'm no longer a student, I've rediscovered my passion for writing. So I contribute an article every week from my perspective, from topics I know a lot about, public service, community service, politics, just a little injection and just giving it from my perspective and just giving people an opportunity to read and hear and see how I think, but also maybe if it can impact them in some way and say, wait a minute, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So it's been an outlet for me. So I would encourage you to follow me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Although I don't have a huge following,
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's strategic.
Well, for me, yeah. And it's a new space so as a business owner. So, yeah, it's a good place.
Well, Gabby Rothman, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Kelly. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. To show that we strong women, we can be resilient.
Absolutely.
And support each other.
Yes.
And thank you for supporting me.
Of course. And we didn't even plan to match today.
No, I know. I think we just think of, yes, we're sending good energy, good girl energy.
Exactly. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Yay.